In Hulu's original series A Handmaid's Tale, the characters Emily and her lover Martha are arrested for gender treachery, for which they face strict punishments. The series is based on a best-selling novel of the same name about a dystopian world plagued by infertility, where women are forced to bear children in a neo-fascist state. It won critical acclaim for its heavy-laden plot and its parallels to the volatile political climate in America today for women, people of color, and especially people in the LGBTQ community. Its thought-provoking and frankly progressive overtone is obvious throughout the series, while portraying a tragic world, although it's not too far from reality. Still, the series falls short of fair representation in this specific scene by playing into one of the most common media tropes, what's known as the dead lesbian trope. Emily is sentenced to relocation to another home where she'll be forced to bear children for another couple. Martha is sentenced to death by hanging. This sort of character kill-off, also known as the bury your gay trope, is common in the media. So common, it's clear that studios and individual producers have a long way to go before fairly representing LGBTQ people in the media.
Can you imagine going on a retreat with those guys? Sitting in a mud bath between Leland and Douglas? Oh, hey, listen, thanks for dinner, Abby.
I thank you for helping me make my stand. I never could have pulled it off without your help.
Well, you have a big fan in me, Abby.
You have a big fan in me, too, CJ.
Oh.
In 1991, NBC's LA Law made history by airing the first same-sex kiss on TV.
I'm sorry, I have to go home. I've got to go.
Okay.
The episode received significant backlash, causing 5 major sponsors to pull their ads from the show, but many saw the kiss as a major shift in the story of LGBTQ communities. We had already come a long way from the calls for equality in the early days of street marches of the 1970s and 80s. Queer people have always existed, but before that kiss, queer representation was rare. It was either taboo.
Are you two lovers?
Portrayed as exotic. Or strictly a cult film thing.
Yes.
Miss Babs Johnson?
Yes, I'm Babs Johnson.
Special delivery package, ma'am. Sign here, please.
What do you mean, special delivery package? There's no address here.
The LGBTQ community has never seen more representation than in the past few years. In fact, 2017 was a record-breaking year for queer representation in the media.
Here we go. I'm bisexual. All right, I will now field 1 minute and 0 seconds of questions pertaining to this.
Queer characters made up 11% of regular characters on broadcast TV. The number of regular characters on cable TV increased by 12%. And for the first time, the report can count asexual and non-binary characters.
It actually feels nice to finally say it out loud. I am an asexual person. I am asexual.
That's great.
But all these small steps beg the question, is it enough?
There are entire swaths of the community that are just left out completely, even in shows that otherwise have representation.
I don't think there's nearly enough representation.
I think there isn't enough, but they have been getting better at it.
They should add more characters,
more LGBTQ directors?
I think that in TV and film especially, since those are two of the medias that people watch the most, people learn from the most, we need more and what's more, better representation of LGBTQ individuals in both those formats.
Acknowledge that there are other forms of queerness other than bisexual women and gay men.
When people think of a gay person in the media, they think of a certain kind of gay character.
Life was good. I moved to Florida, got 2 adorable pups, and a boyfriend named Jimmy. I swear, I bought anything that caught my eye. Clothes, jewelry, you name it, I snatched it up. I was the guy everyone called to find out where the new hotspots were. Clubs, bars, restaurants, I knew them all. And sometimes I'd even stay at hotels on the weekend just because I heard they had great bathrooms, or room service, or really hot bellboys.
Mainstream media often portrays what's known as the camp gay trope. They're typically attractive.
Are we ready?
Hey.
They're also really good at fashion. Oh, and they love to dance. In some ways, it seems like some of the gayest representations don't seem like they're made for gay people at all. Bisexual characters, although presented significantly less in media, are also portrayed in a one-dimensional light. They're normally beautiful and sexually adventurous women, what's known as the anything that moves trope. You can guess what that means. Not to take away from these identities, they're still part of a marginalized community and their visibility is a huge improvement from even a decade ago. But it's obvious that there are all kinds of queer people that are practically invisible in the mainstream. It also hides the harsh reality that many LGBTQ people face.
Just so you know, I'm Jessica Taylor. I'm an airline pilot. I am transgender. I want to know if you can see me. First of all, what would make you uncomfortable with me using the women's restroom?
She's a very attractive woman.
Well, very. A lot of transgender people are not. A lot are not convincing in their presentation as the opposite of their biological sex, and so it's obvious to the people who see them that this is actually a man in a dress and not a biological woman.
In general, transgender discussions in news media tend to be really abysmal, with like basic factual information screwed up, or insensitive language, or extremely insensitive questions, like interviewers just straight up asking what's in your pants, often not even in that vague of terms. It can be disturbing.
Transgender women are 4 times more likely to be murdered than cisgender women. In 2017, the Human Rights Campaign recorded 28 transgender women murdered in the US, the highest number on record.
Talk with the New Orleans Police Department and the LGBT community about the recent murders of transgender women, and you get 2 different stories.
The New Orleans Police Department investigates every murder to its fullest extent, regardless of race, age, sex, sexual orientation, disability, national origin.
I don't think they're doing enough to protect the transgender community. I would hate to say that they're incompetent, and they hate when I call them that, but, it is what it is.
Basic human rights are an ongoing issue for the LGBTQ community. More often than not, media fails to bring this point home, but some are trying.
Queen is just my everything. Right now, I wouldn't know where my life would be without her.
They say chivalry's dead. It's not. Terrence is a gentleman. He opens doors. His smile did it. His smile, his eyes, his knowledge. My landlord, he decided that he wanted me to move based on the fact that I was transgender. It takes me to a place of no hope. It takes me to a place of loneliness. It saddens me. When you discriminate against somebody in housing, where do these people go?
Regardless of pushback from traditional society, History shows that lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and all gender nonconforming people will continue to fight to tell their own story.
And yes, of course we do.